What's up, sports fans? It's sports time. And I'm Jason Hugh, and this is my NFL Week 14 preview and predictions. So let's get right into it. So first off, we have a matchup between the New England Patriots and the Los Angeles Rams. The New England Patriots, they're coming off a huge blowout win against the LA Chargers. They looked really, really good in that game. The Patriots will once again try to establish the run with Harris, Michelle, and Cam Newton, but I don't think it'll be too effective against this Los Angeles Rams third-ranked rushing defense. The Los Angeles Rams, I think, will keep all those the running backs and Cam Newton in check. Cam Newton will try to beat the Los Angeles Rams through the air, but I think he won't be able to do it because has been struggling to pass the ball for most of this season, and this Los Angeles Rams passing defense is no joke. The Rams have a third-ranked defense overall, and I think that'll be very effective against this New England Patriots 19th-ranked offense. The Rams will be pressuring Cam Newton with Aaron Donald and that offensive line, so expect to see Newton scrambling out of the pocket and try to run the ball. This game, I think, will be relatively close, mostly due to Bill Belichick, always having the Patriots ready to play at this time of the season. But I think the Los Angeles Rams are too talented, and because of their huge defense, I think they'll be able to take this game 24-17. All right, moving on to the next game, we have a game against the Broncos and the Panthers. The Panthers, they might be getting Christian McCaffrey back in this game. We don't really know yet, so we'll see about that. The Broncos, they'll be trying to establish the run game again with Phillip Lindsay and Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon had a pretty good game against the Chiefs last week, so we'll see if he can transfer that into this game. The Broncos, I think, have a pretty underrated passing D. The Panthers, they'll be trying to win the game with Teddy Bridgewater. So I think this will come down to the Panthers' passing attack versus the Broncos' defense. I think the Broncos' defense will actually prevail here. The Broncos held the Chiefs relatively in check last week. So I think they'll employ the same this week against the Panthers. 3 of the 4 wins that the Broncos have on this season have been because of good defense and a good run game performance. So don't expect Drew Lock to really do much in this game. But surprisingly, I think I will take the Broncos in this one, 20-17. Moving on to the next game, we have the Arizona Cardinals versus the New York Giants. The Giants, they're actually looking really good as of late. Joe Judge has been getting this team ready to play. Look like they're playing really hard. They're coming off a huge upset win over the Seattle Seahawks last week, with the defense looking very dominant in that game. In this game, I think the Giants defense will do the same to this Cardinals offense. The Cardinals have been struggling recently. They're on a bit of a losing streak, a big loss to the Rams last week. I think that very, very much hurts the Cardinals' playoff chances. I think the Giants' defense will show up once again this week. They'll contain Kyler Murray in the offense. Colt McCoy, all he really needs to do is just game manage, make sure he doesn't turn the ball over. Maybe he'll throw a touchdown pass or two. I think the New York Giants will control the tempo of this game with that elite defense, and I think they will continue their hot streak with a win against the Arizona Cardinals by a score of 24-20. All right, moving on to the next game, we have the Kansas City Chiefs against the Miami Dolphins. In this game, I think Tua Tagovailoa will be tested. This will be the biggest test of his career so far. He'll go head-to-head with Patrick Mahomes. So we'll see how Tua does. The Miami Dolphins, they'll definitely be relying on Tua Tagovailoa and the offense, and maybe beat the Kansas City Chiefs in a shootout. But I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be way too loaded, with Travis Kelce looking like the best tight end in football. with Sammy Watkins, with the ultra fast Tyreek Hill, with McCole Hardman. This Kansas City Chiefs offense just way too hard to stop. Mahomes looking like the MVP of the league again. They'll score on this Miami Dolphins team. Tua Tagovailoa will not be able to catch up or to match with Patrick Mahomes, and I think the Kansas City Chiefs will take this one by a score of 34-27. All right, moving on to the next game, we have a clash between the bottom feeders, Dallas Cowboys and Cincinnati Bengals. The Dallas Cowboys, Andy Dalton, he had a pretty good. I think he'll have a pretty good night against this Bengals defense. The Bengals defense looking pretty weak. The Cowboys, surprisingly, they don't actually give up much passing yards. So I think Allen and this Cincinnati Bengals team, they'll have a difficult time to score. But the Dallas Cowboys defense, they're also not too good. So that'll give the Cincinnati Bengals a chance to win. But ultimately, I think Andy Dalton will prevail against this weak Cincinnati Bengals defense. So I think the Cowboys will, in fact, take this game 28-22. Moving on to the next game, we have the Houston Texans versus the Chicago Bears. So this game, Houston is coming off a pretty upsetting loss last week against the Colts. The Bears, finally, when they, put up a good amount of points in the offense, the defense lets them down against the Lions. So nothing is going good for the Chicago Bears right now, on a huge losing streak as well. I think this game will be pretty close. The Chicago Bears rushing attack, they've been, doing pretty good recently with Montgomery and Patterson. So expect the Bears to employ the same with employ the same run game with Patterson and Montgomery in this one. Texans, they're not too good against the run, but I think Deshaun Watson, he'll bounce back. He looked pretty upset the last game with the loss against the Colts. So I know Deshaun Watson will come back. He'll be hungry. I think he'll have a huge night against this Bears team. I think the Bears, they're just dead at this point. Really, everyone's struggling. They had a good start, but they've been on a huge losing streak. And I think Deshaun Watson will, in fact, have a big game. So I think the Houston Texans will take this by a close score of 27-25. Next up, we have the Tennessee Titans versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. So Tennessee, they suffered a big loss to the Cleveland Browns last week. I expect them to bounce back against this weak Jacksonville Jaguars team. They'll obviously, try to establish the run again with Derrick Henry. The Jags, they're really bad against the run. They're the third worst rushing defense in the league right now. So I expect Derrick Henry to be a monster in this game, and he'll be eating up yards. Glennon, he can't turn the ball over, man. If he turns the ball over multiple times, this Tennessee Titans team, they'll just continue to run the ball with Derrick Henry, control the clock. This Jacksonville Jaguars team will not have much time of possession with the ball. They won't be able to do much. They can't do much as is. So Mike Glennon cannot turn the ball over. Jacksonville's passing defense, pretty bad too. So Tannehill might have a field day in this one. The Titans, they'll probably need this win just to get their hopes up again. This will be a big hit to their confidence if they lose to the Jaguars here. But I expect the Tennessee Titans to take care of business, 30-20. And I think they'll just cruise to the win easily here. All right, moving on, we have the Minnesota Vikings against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Vikings, they'll try to establish the run game with Dalvin Cook, but they're going to be running into a number 1 ranked Tampa Bay rushing defense. So I feel like Cook will be held in check this game. So I don't think the running game will be effective for the Vikings. How will Cook respond though? Last game, he didn't really do too good against the Jags. only averaged 3.8 yards a carry against a weak running defense. Because Dalvin Cook, I think, will be held in check, the Minnesota Vikings will have to rely on Kirk Cousins to make big plays, to put them into good field positions, and just to score points. This Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, they're up and down this season. So I think if Kirk Cousins is able to make big plays, they definitely have a shot of winning this game. But the Vikings passing defense has not been really good this season. And I expect Tom Brady and this passing attack to just take advantage of that. I think Minnesota will be overwhelmed by AB, Evans, Godwin. The Buccaneers are just loaded right now. Their wide receivers will take advantage. Expect Antonio Brown to get more than 3 targets and 2 receptions. He only had that much against the Chiefs last game, so I really expect AB to be incorporated more in the offense this game. So I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will win this game 34-28. Moving on to the next game, we have the Colts against the Raiders. Colts, they're coming off a pretty good win against the Texans. Phillip Rivers, he looked pretty good last game, so we'll see if he can continue that. The Vegas Raiders, they could have lost to the winless Jets last game if Greg Williams didn't call that idiotic play, and gave up that 46-yard bomb to Henry Ruggs. So the Raiders right now, they're not looking too good. Early on in the season, they were looking good, but they're not looking too good right now. I expect Derek Carr to bounce back, try to have a better game. John Gruden will try to prepare this Vegas Raiders team for the Colts. But I think Rivers have been playing very well recently. He had good games against Green Bay, against Houston last week, against Tennessee a few weeks ago. And I think him and the Indianapolis Colts will take the win here, 27-21. Moving on to the next game, we have the Seahawks against the Jets. I think the Seahawks will just have a field day this game. The Seahawks passing attack, they'll just devour this New York Jets passing defense. New York Jets passing defense really, really weak. Russell Wilson will have a huge night in this game, looking to bounce back against the upset loss to the Giants. The Jets, I don't think they'll put up much of a fight. Although I think the Seattle Seahawks may have to watch out though too, because their defense, has been stinking up the joint for most of this season. So they do have to be careful here because, the Jets offense, they actually been putting up a good amount of points. 27 on the Patriots, a few weeks ago, 28 points on the Chargers, 28 against the Vegas last week. So they have to be careful. But ultimately, I think Russell Wilson in this passing attack, they will carry the Seahawks and they will dominate the New York Jets 35-22. Moving on to the next game, we have the Falcons against the Chargers. Chargers, obviously a very bad loss to the Patriots last game. Herbert, he had a pretty bad game. They'll be going up against a quarterback in Matt Ryan who, hasn't played too well this season. They had a huge loss to the Saints last game. But you're going to have to beat the Chargers through the run, though, because the Chargers, they have a pretty good passing defense. But the Falcons don't have that great of a running game either. So I think Ryan definitely has to step it up. I think Justin Herbert will bounce back and have a big night, though. So, I think I'll give the Chargers the edge on this one, and they'll win by a score of 29-27. Next up, we have the Green Bay Packers against the Detroit Lions. Aaron Rodgers, once again, another good game last week against the Philly Eagles. Detroit Lions, they're coming off a win as well, but I think Aaron Rodgers, he'll continue to do well this game. He'll feast on this Detroit Lions passing defense. I think Devontae Adams will have another big night. Obviously, Detroit will try to pass the ball with Matthew Stafford, but I don't think it'll be enough. I expect Aaron Jones to have another big night. I actually think Aaron Jones is a little bit underrated, really. Because I think he had a few good games, a good amount of good games this season so far. I've seen him make really big plays, so I do think Aaron Jones is a bit underrated, and I think will have a big night against the Detroit Lions. I'll take the Green Bay Packers 30-23. Next up, we have the Saints against the Eagles. Big news. Peterson has finally decided to turn to Hurts in this game. We'll see how Hurts can do, but he'll have a tough matchup tonight against the New Orleans Saints and this dominant defense. I feel bad for Hurts right now, getting his first start against this great of a defense right now. The Saints defense just pretty dominant right now. I don't expect Hurts to really do much. Taysom Hill, he's been doing pretty well, running the football, passing the football. He's surprisingly looking really good right now. So I think the New Orleans Saints will continue their big win streak. Jalen Hurts, he'll probably provide a bit of a spark, changing from Wentz to him. So he'll probably provide a spark within the offense, but I don't think it'll be enough against this New Orleans Saints defense. I think New Orleans will take this 25-19. All right, moving on to the next game, we have the Washington football team against the 49ers. The Washington, big win against the Pittsburgh Steelers, ending their undefeated streak last week. So I expect the Washington football team to continue. Ron Rivera has been doing a really good job. They'll put pressure on Nick Mullins. Although Washington they didn't register any sacks last game, I expect them to bounce back and maybe get a sack or two this game against this 49ers defensive line. The 49ers, they'll once again rely on the defense to keep them into games. I don't think Nick Mullins will have a good game in this game because this Washington football team defense just really good. I don't think he'll get much going. I expect the Washington football team to continue to play well, and I think the Washington defense will make a huge play that will decide this game, as they did last game against the Steelers. And I do expect the Washington football team to win this by a close margin of 22-19. Next up, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Buffalo Bills. I think this will be one of the more closest matchups of the week. This is a huge game. I definitely will be watching it. The Steelers, they're coming off an upset loss to the Washington football team. The Buffalo Bills, they're coming off a win. So Josh Allen, he's looking really good right now. This Buffalo Bills defense, though, has given up a good amount of yards. So I do actually expect the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, with Big Ben Roethlisberger, with Smith-Schuster, with Chase Claypool, I think they'll bounce back, and I think they'll have a good night. I think Josh Allen will have a big game himself, but I do think the Pittsburgh Steelers will squeak by with a win 27-25, and they'll just take this game. Last up, we have the Baltimore Ravens against the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland, huge win against the Titans last week. The Ravens, they're coming off an easy win against the Cowboys. Baltimore, obviously, they'll continue to try to run the football with Lamar Jackson. I think if Cleveland, though, is able to get a big lead in this one, maybe like a 14-point lead or something like that, that'll make it hard in this Baltimore Ravens team to try and come back. As we've seen in the past, they have the least amount of total passing yards on the season, as you may have expected. So I think the Cleveland Browns, if they can get up early in this game, I think they can make it really difficult for the Baltimore Ravens to come back. The Baltimore Ravens do have a slightly above average rushing defense, so we'll see how they do against this Cleveland Browns rushing attack with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. I think Mayfield, he had a good game last week against the Titans, but I think this week he will struggle though against this Baltimore Ravens defense. This is a pretty big rivalry game. You know, Baltimore, they wrecked the Browns opening night, so this game will have a lot of pressure on Mayfield, and I think he will struggle. And for that reason, I think the Baltimore Ravens, with Lamar Jackson having another good game, will take this game by a score of 28-24. So that's it for this video, everybody. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, you can put it down in the chat. I might do like a mailbox video, answering all of you guys' questions. But for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.